Hello, everyone. As you might remember, in the previous session, I couldn't hold in-person class. The reason was, we are using Amazon Web Services, and I wanted you guys to first register an account, a free account for training. That might take a lot of time. Also, I need the credit card from all of you. Some of you may not have it. So I was thinking first, let them to create an account in their home, in their whenever it's comfortable for them and have access to their banking information. And second, again, we are using free services. Sometimes setup might take a lot of time. I didn't want to have idle time in your class while somebody's searching for a credit card, somebody else trying to log in, and some even the internet in Clark is not the best reliable one, although it's very good. Anyway, I hope you see this video later and be able to create the Amazon account. And then in the following weeks, I teach you how to do some cloud-based activities, such as upload files, use PySpark, doing machine learning, so on and so forth. Okay, let's start today's session. Keep in mind, in the previous classes, I talked about how to work with data frames in PySpark, and you learn how to do advanced machine learning activities using Databricks. Still, we use community version of Databricks. You might remember in some sessions, some of the class couldn't set up the cluster. Again, private companies with free services is the reason I also taught you how to set up a Hadoop and also PySpark environment through VirtualBox, which you can even do it at home, but I expect not all of you have a strong computer, so then you use your own pre-installed version of Hadoop and Spark. It might take a lot of time to process even easy tasks. So these are some limitation of using cheap or free services. Although you might get good insights, but sometimes the service is not available. Sometimes it might be very slow, but again, you get good learning experience. Like you might remember, we use this SQL-like commands and also Python-like commands, being able to process data frames inside PySpark. Okay, so for today, I'm going to introduce three different services that AWS provides for you. I give you some insights how they work, what's the purpose of working with them, and also later at the end of this session, you might see that I show you how to set up a free AWS account. Keep in mind, these are free services, but for some reason, they can find good ways to charge you. Even I had students in some semesters, they charge hundreds of dollars, but usually when you show your credentials, university credentials, and say that you're a student, it was for a university project, usually they reimburse you. So I never saw any student pay too much money out of the pocket. However, I always see some students that they get charged. Again, I give you some instructions and how to avoid getting charged by AWS. But again, if they are very smart companies, if they find some way to charge you, you just need to communicate with them, and they really have very great customer services. So most likely you get reimbursed, but I cannot guarantee that. This is a private company, totally out of my control. But again, if you have a strong personal computer, I gave you a pre-installed version of Hadoop and PySpark in which definitely you don't get any charge. Still, I strongly recommend to learn AWS because it's a good skill that might be very beneficial for the job market, but there is some pros and cons. And you're a graduate student, I expect you guys can think critically and be very smart. Anyway, let's talk about first service that I want to talk about, which is Amazon Elastic Compute, or EC2. This is a cloud computing platform within Amazon.com. It's basically setting up virtual server inside the cloud, and over that servers you can host Hadoop, which if you pay more, you can have multi-servers that can work, that together they can work on a Hadoop platform and they do distributed processing. So later on, when I show you how to set up Hadoop over Amazon EC2, since I just want to use free service, I try to install on just one server, although it's not a strong one, but installing Hadoop on several servers are exactly the same, we just need to pay more. Also, we talk about S3, so that can host large amount of the data, and you can incorporate with the Hadoop and any other platforms that are working on AWS. Keep in mind, the ultimate goal of my AWS teaching is showing you how to run PySpark codes over AWS. Okay, talking about EC2 is a web service that provides resizable compute capacity in cloud. What does it mean? So it just means depends on your need. You can pay and request for more hardware computing power. Let's say you have a test project, or your company might be very small, maybe you just have a startup. You don't want to invest too much on hardware and hiring people that maintain those hardwares. What would you do? So probably Amazon AWS would be the best option for you, isn't it? So instead of paying for hardware and hiring people you are not sure if you really need them in the test project or not, you can just request that service over Amazon EC2 and run your project. After a while, you need to make your business decision. So let's say your start project or test project works perfectly, and you need to increase your computing power. So what would you do? Even at that time, you should decide, would you hire a software or hardware engineer, or would you still want to use Amazon EC2? Again, depends on the application of your project, might be different. The good thing, it gives you a very comprehensive control on your computing environment without any headaches about hardware. There are some key concepts on or jargons on Amazon EC2 and mostly in other platforms on AWS. So one is instance. Instance just means server. So the server that runs your applications, and it includes storage, CPU, memory, so on and so forth. You also can launch from pre-configured images. Images is something like what I gave you as a VirtualBox. So I give you a pre-configured image of Ubuntu that can host Hadoop and PySpark. And the jargon is AMIS or AMIs. So it's just a template that contains this configuration of your software, like what you have as an operating system, how your server works, and the applications that you have on your server. We have another important jargon is region and availability zone. It just talks about a physical location that your EC2 instance is hosted. Depends on your application, your customers. You might want specific regions for your EC2 instance. Let's say your project is mostly related to some universities in West Coast or East Coast. So you want to host your hardware or EC2 instance either in West or East, because you can have faster communications. In terms of use case or applications, you can host whatever you can host on a server. It includes the applications, backend services, databases, test environment, HPC or high performance computing nodes, so on and so forth. So in a sense, it's like a hardware instance that operates as a server and you host on Amazon. So in a sense, you upload your data on Amazon S3 if you specifically a large amount of data sets, and Amazon S3 communicate with EC2 instance through EMR, and that also contains Hadoop, PySpark, and all other needed environments. Okay, we just also talked about S3. So let's see, what does it mean? What is it? S3 stands for Simple Storage Service. I think the name is very intuitive. So similar to almost all the services on Amazon S3 that I'm aware of. So they are scalable, durable, or very reliable. And also their architecture is object storage or object-based secure system. This we can consider as a sandbox in which you upload your data in a very reliable environment, or if I want to oversimplify it, is like a reliable hardware that is hosted on Amazon. So that each type of data that are stored on S3 called object. So is a technical term, but you can just assume is like data types or data units on Amazon S3. The good thing about S3 is highly scalable and very secure, and is accessible almost everywhere that you have internet. So that's another advantage. Again, the reason that you use S3 is based on your business need and totally business decisions. Similar to EC2, you can use it for like almost every application that you can imagine: website hosting, backup recovery, data archiving, big data analytics, and application hosting. So you need, for any big applications that you need big data, you need to have big data. So where do you want to put that? So S3 is a good answer for it, especially if you want your data would be accessible over internet by high security. Keep in mind, although some US governmental offices use S3 and they host very important data, but again, depends on your own application. Especially some private companies, they don't want to host, or some military institution around the world, they don't want to host anything over the internet because of putting your data on the internet means you're potentially susceptible to some risks. Again, these are all business decisions. So there should be a very good critical thinking before any business decisions. Okay, keep in mind, for you, the most important asset is critical thinking for each business decisions, including cloud computing. You need to have critical thinking. It's very important, and it makes you different from uneducated people. So this helps you to improve your decision making and also boost your creativity. So again, just keep in mind, this is the most important asset that you have, thinking. When we talk about the applications, like as you see, S3 applications and EC2 was kind of similar, almost for everything on internet, especially if you need to process big amount of data. You need the computing power comes from EC2, and you need a server, a server that hosts your data or hard drive that comes through S3. That's our key concepts or jargons. So similarly, buckets. So these are containers that you use for storing your object. And interestingly, your bucket has a unique name. So if you use pick any name, nobody else can pick it. And again, jargons or object refers to any file types that is stored in S3. It could be anything. And also, not only your bucket name is unique, but also each object is unique inside your S3. And similarly, you have the jargons or technical term of regions, refers to where you want to host your data. So as you see in this diagram, like people from different regions access to AWS. So on the left side, US West 2, and on the right side, US East 1, access to a computing node, which gets data from buckets. And also some buckets also can communicate with each other. And you can copy paste and send data from one bucket to another one. And depends on your business. You might have similar data copied on multiple buckets on internet. There's some sort of specific storage classes. Standard is for frequently accessed data. So there's some sort of data that customers might need almost every time. The second is intelligent tiering. So it optimizes the cost. So you may not use this type of data and storage frequently. The standard IA, so is for less frequent data that you may not need a strong hardware to process. One zone AI, lower cost options. Glacier is for like even name is intuitive, is for long-term archival. You may not need to process it every time. So again, these are just, you might get different price offers for each of the storage classes. Depends on your need and your customer needs. You might process and see which, and make decision which of these types of storage you need. Similar to any technology, there's some certain jargons that you need to keep in mind. First is ACL. It controls access to bucket as an object, bucket policies, special permissions that control the whole of the entire bucket. IAM roles. It refers to a specific permission to some certain users and applications, because you as a data owner might need different access than somebody as a customer. So with IAM, you can control for that. Encryption just means it's some sort of uh, data encryption that you have your data when you want to save them somewhere. So it basically standards that control on security of data and encryption. So if somebody access to your data, they cannot read it because you have some sort of encryption. So version refers to version of the data that you have. So you might have some modification, and for each modification, you get a new version of your data. With versioning, you can just go back in the history and see if you don't like the current change or the most updated one, you can just retrieve the previous version and that are valid for you. Lifecycle management is just refers to some sort of regulations that you put on S3, in which some data might be either deleted or archived at certain time of point or at certain usage. So cross-region replication just means, again, some of your data might have multiple copies on certain buckets of different regions. S3 transfer acceleration is just accelerate your data transfer. It's some sort of technology and standards that do that. These are some jargons. I don't want expect you guys to memorize all of them. I just want you guys to at least heard of them before. So whenever I open any application on AWS and talk about version of the bucket that you have or object that you have. So that is heard of that. Or if I talk about cycle management, you might understand Hamid is talking about how to have autopilot rules that archive data or delete them after some certain usage or um, after a certain point of time. Okay, the next technology that I want to talk about is Amazon SageMaker. Okay, what's SageMaker? So you might remember I've talked about different ways that we can install Hadoop. So let's say, talk more in details. Let's say you want to have a PySpark either on Amazon AWS or on your own personal computer. You might remember even I gave you an image of PySpark. So, but how it is developed? So development of such environment either on cloud or on your local PC is kind of complicated. First, you need to have you need to have some certain hardware and set up like operation system, something like Linux. Then on top of Linux, you need to set up Hadoop, and on top of Hadoop, PySpark. Quite complicated and might take like hours. But what if you just have data analytics knowledge and you are not a hardware or software engineer? So Amazon SageMaker that helps for those type of people who just want to do big data analytics without any headache on how to set up hardware or software. So it SageMaker it helps data scientists to like set up environment very quickly, and in the environment they can like import the data, process it, and make insights, and then they can just use the insights for future use. So this is the role of SageMaker. Let me just read the definition. A fully managed service that provides every tool needed to build, train, deploy machine learning models quickly, even if it's on Hadoop or PySpark. It gives you a complete tool to process your workflow, and the workflow comes from data entry to the machine learning based insights. You can not only host popular frameworks such as PySpark, you can also do deep neural network using TensorFlow, PyTorch, or anything from scikit-learn. So it has different components. So this first is SageMaker Studio. It's just a web-based environment that provides all you need for model training, debugging, deployment, and also monitoring. SageMaker Ground Truth, it helps you to create high-quality training data sets. SageMaker Training, and it's enabling machine learning models to be trained. And SageMaker Inference is for deploying your models for real-time or batch prediction. We talk about real-time processing and batch prediction later on, but based on your experience, either in my class or in other classes, you usually have some sort of data in rows and columns. After processing, you get the insights, and your insight can just be used for stationary data, not real-time data. We talk about it later on, but I just wanted to let you guys know that SageMaker can have potential to process even real time data. So based on what I said, you can be pretty sure that you can use SageMaker for almost any machine learning-based application, image processing, text mining, forecasting anything in future, even recommendation center systems. So the most advantage of SageMaker comes on it's ready to use and is optimized to work on AWS. So with very limited knowledge on setting up Spark and Hadoop, you can use it, taking advantage of advanced operation Hadoop and Spark by the minimalistic hardware and software reports. So if you save time on learning how to set up Hadoop, Ubuntu servers, so on and so forth, definitely increase your productivity because you just focus on your main advantages, which is on data analytics. Again, depends on your business. You just pay for what the amount of computing power that you need. It's highly scalable. You can increase hardware based on your need. It's very flexible in which you can support a wide range of machine learning tasks. So Again, the applications are not limited, but you can imagine you can do most of advanced and even real-time based data modeling, such as fraud detection, personalized recommendation. So fraud detection and personal recommendation is better to do on real-time basis. Predictive maintenance, medical image analysis, natural language processing, you name it. So it just basically helps you to do the most advanced machine learning tasks in the real-time format on Amazon AWS without being needed to know too much from hardware, Hadoop, Spark, so on and so forth. So you just focus on your core advantages, which is like knowing data analytics or data science. Okay, so let's first teach you how to set up AWS. It's very straightforward here. I just review steps for you. Keep in mind, it's more tedious in comparison to Databricks, but it gives you a wider range of tasks that you can do. It's almost, I shouldn't say, but it's almost limitless. In order to set up an even free version of AWS, you still need to provide your credit card information. As I said several times, these are private companies. They might find some ways to charge you, but always I see every semester they charge some students for hundreds of dollars. But what they do actually after they get charged, they contact customer service and they say that they need it for a student project. And what I've seen ever since I saw that they forgive students, but I cannot guarantee it happens every semester. Keep in mind, the best way to avoid expensive charges is just you delete your instance after it completes. So if you delete or stop, but again, I recommend to delete. You don't put any ways, or you limit the ways that Amazon can charge. Okay, so I teach you how to set up different instances, including EC2, but again, the overall approach is to use your own PC to connect to Amazon services. It could be EC2, it could be SageMaker, so on and so forth. So first, get to this link, aws.amazon.com. Free. So I get to the link. Now let me just copy it here. You click on create a free account. Okay, you see my account information over there. So what I usually do, I provide university email address, but here, if it's your first time, you don't see such a thing, you need to click on create an account. You provide account name, like email, and you will receive an email from AWS. You need to activate, and then you can be able to process it. So since I already created my account, I cannot do it one more time here, but I can show you what I did on my lecture notes. Okay, so as you see here in the sign up, it asks me phone number, country, region, my addresses, then credit card information. I pick basic support free, provided information, confirm your identity if it's you're a robot or not. And I pick the free version. And then after providing all this information, next time when I go to aws.amazon.com, let me show it to you here. Click sign in. Okay, so what I usually do, I just using root user email, root user next sign. So top right, AWS Clark is my user account, and this is my user ID. So it's 018 up to 3017. Again, on the left side, for you might be a little different because I'm using different services, as you see, EMR, S3, SageMaker, so on and so forth. So if you want to see them, they go to services and search for the service you're looking for, or search here. For example, if you want to go to the SageMaker on the search bar, just type SageMaker. So the first link is for Amazon SageMaker. If you are looking for EC2, you either find it through services here, or here you search for EC2. Again, whenever you want, just pause this tutorial. At home, just follow my instruction. Be sure that you have the account ready for the next class. In the next class, I can show you all the steps for using them. Today is for just creation. So account information, EC2. Okay, please make it ready. So at your own time, get AWS account. In case you have issues, just please find me during my office hours or even the class, because in the next class, I assume that you guys know everything about AWS setup and be able to do actual jobs. Again, for actual jobs, I try to avoid high delay tasks. As I said, some of the tasks that you might do over AWS might take a lot of time to set up. I might give you just a video like what I did today. But my goal is when we do hands-on experience, we do everything in the class. Unless there is some setup or something like what happened last class, which I wasn't sure if you guys all have your credit card information or have laptops to set it up. Thank you very much. See you in the next class.